pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 5 is listed on the agenda.
Second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 5, cash disbursements, electronic transfers. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 6 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve the following seminar requests for payments or requests. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 7 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 7, the exonerations for the Tax Claim Bureau. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
Motion to approve item 8 is on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 8, the John Deere out for sale. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item 9 is on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner, I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 9 on the agenda, the sale of 34 LCD monitors. Questions or comments?
Are
Yes.
those the flat monitors? Is that
Yes,
right?
LCDs. yes.
LCDs?
Yeah. But they're very small, very old.
Very small? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 10 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 10, advertise for sale of the 2004 BMW. Questions or comments? Yes.
Could you explain how the county became in possession of a 745 Beamer?
Well, we didn't buy it. It was a seizure. That's how we got it.
Where did you come to the number of 7,000?
It's the book price on it, Kelly book price on it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 11 is listed on the agenda.
Second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve the appointments and reappointments to the Northern Tier Regional Planning and Development. Questions or comments? Yes.
Now, is this still the Northern Tier Regional Planning? Are they still involved in trying to make zoning recommendations, or what are they
No,
involved
they
in?
have nothing to do with the zoning.
So what are they involved in? It's just economic development?
Mostly just economic development. They work with, they also work with startup companies trying to get them moving, programs like that, workforce development. They also do stuff, they assist in local transportation. They also do stuff with, they also run the regional transportation with PennDOT, which covers both District 3 and District 4 of PennDOT.
Do you have anything right now that's developing that's you can talk about as far as Northern Tier, as far as industry coming in here? Any other industry that's pending that you can talk about?
Nothing at this time.
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 12,
Motion to approve item number 12 is listed on the agenda.
second act. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 12 for the repairs to Bridge 37, Bridge 40. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 13 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 13 on the agenda by recommendation of Register Mary Evans.
I got one issue here, I just noticed.
What's that?
37 and a half, I thought we were all going to 40.
We
When
are.
we gonna do that?
That department will be the last one. That won't be far off.
All right, because we were adjusting some of these as we
Yeah.
were going.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 14 is listed on the agenda.
Motion
And
by
that one's 40 hours per week.
Right. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 14 on the agenda for the recommendation of Art Donato, 911. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 15 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 15, to hire Maggie McNamara of Friendsville to the administrative assistant position of the chief clerk. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 16 is listed on the
I'll
agenda.
second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 16 on the agenda by recommendation of Art Donato, 911 coordinator. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 17 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall. Approve item 17 for the second deputy prothonotary by recommendation of Sue Edelson of pathonetary. Questions or comments? Yes.
Is that a new position or is she?
No, it's filling a vacant position.
So who is she filling?
That was Misty. That was in that position. All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 18 as listed on the agenda.
I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve the transfer of Nicholas Canigliaro per the recommendation of the County Prison Board. Questions or comments? Yes.
Now, he was the warden for a few years, right? Nicholas Canigliaro. And now he's going to community corrections officer. And what is that?
You want to explain that one?
Well, he's going to supervise bails. Actually, the job description for that is two-pronged. He is going to continue to do the operational functions of the jail, which has been almost 100% over the last several years. But he is going to pick up, relieve himself of the administrative duties from that, and take care of bail supervision, work release, and make sure the people that are doing that are actually working, doing what they're supposed to do, and not in violation of anything.
So then you'll be getting also a new warden, it says, to replace him?
Yes.
We hope so.
So you're looking for one at this time, or what?
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 19 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall, to approve item 19 for the recommendation of the County Prison Board. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 20 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall, to approve item 20 on the agenda for the full-time position for the recommendation of the Prison Board. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 21 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall, to approve item 21 on the agenda. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 22 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall, to approve item 22 on the agenda for the recommendation of the Prison Board. Questions or comments? Yes.
You have like several people here that are going from part-time to full-time. Any reason, what's the reason for that?
They've received their training and now they're filling vacant full-time positions.
And how many corrections officers do you have at this point?
I couldn't tell you exactly off the top of my head.
But approximately, like over 10?
Oh, yeah. It's a, 24-hour day, 7-day a week, 365 days. It has to be manned. All in favor?
Aye. 23.
Yep.
Motion to approve item number 23 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall, to approve item 23 for the recommendations of the County Prison Board. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
24.
Motion to approve item number 24 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall, to approve item 24 on the agenda for the recommendation of the County Prison Board. Questions or comments? Yes.
I don't understand the wording, or perhaps the intent, but it says to approve the status change of Ronald Gregory from part-time to full-time with no change in rate.
Right.
And what was he paid prior to the change as part-time?
Private 1260.
It's $12.60. Yeah, that's
So
your
It's a
salary.
start rate.
he's going to work a full-time position for the same 1260?
Right.
Why?
That's the salary start. That's the union contract and what they negotiated. Yes.
That's hourly, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's 1259.
Well, at what point does he go from 1259 to whatever? He's full, if he becomes full?
It'll be a year. It's a year from his,
So this is probationary for a year?
well, probationary for 6 months. Then after 6 months probationary period is gone, and then at the beginning of next year, that's when the increases come out, January of each year.
All right, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item number 25 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 25 on the agenda for the recommendation of the County Prison Board. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. 26, I assume we got a letter from the planning commission to, we did? So it's
Yeah.
per the recommendation of the
Right,
planning commission,
yes.
Bob Templeton? You think he's okay with that?
Yeah.
Motion to approve item number 26 is listed on the agenda.
I will second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 26, appoint Chris Caterson to the Planning Commission per the recommendation of the Planning Commission. Questions or comments? Yes.
Now, if Chris Caterson's being appointed to the Susquehanna County Planning Commission for 4 years, is he replacing somebody?
Yes.
Who is he replacing?
I don't know the name of the person he's replacing. You can find out from Bob Templeton.
And do you know how many people are on the commission now?
I don't remember exactly.
I don't know if it's full, 7 or 8.
7 or 8?
Yeah, there's, in that ballpark, more than.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this time we'll have public comment. Any
Motion.
public comment? Yes.
I just have a couple questions. Let's see, you have, and it's just on item number 17, you have a proprietary office hiring, and then you also have something from the Register Recorder's Office.
Right.
And that has the commissioners as hiring them. Wouldn't it still be approving the hiring or acknowledging the hiring? I mean,
You want to answer, Joe?
Good.
They get to hire, determine who's in their office. Because they're in county employees, the finalization of that has to come through us. So is it approval of the hiring? Probably, because they get to determine
right,
who they want.
right.
So how do we have it worded?
You
You don't
just
like the
have-
way it's-
Yes, I don't like the way it's worded.
Where are you?
17's right here, so And 13.
Motion to hire,
I mean.
per the
all the years-
recommendation of Sue Edelston, so.
Right, but it still comes off as the commissioners are hiring and choosing the people for the office. That's how it reads, that's how
We're
I
not.
interpret.
We don't choose them.
I understand that, but it has until recently always been acknowledge the hiring or
But-
approve the hiring
Right,
or
but-
Per the
something like that.
recommendation, doesn't that change your
Right.
mind?
No, like a per the recommendation is, in 911, if Art, per the recommendation of Art Donato, somebody
Yeah.
who's in direct line from the commissioner's office versus another elected official's
We don't
office.
pick who they hire, they pick their own.
But they can't, the person can't get paid until we approve it.
Right. But, so, I would prefer an approve the hiring versus a,
What's the matter with per the recommendation now?
because to me, per the recommendation still seems like it's just a department head who's asking for the county, for the commissioners to hire.
You understand the county, we have to actually do
The hiring.
the hiring, because we pay them.
Right.
Unless you want to debate the approval versus the per
I
recommendation.
don't know,
Is this a game of semantics?
it is a game of semantics.
And I understand what you're saying,
Right,
that's why, let's think about it.
okay.
We thought we got it right doing it this way, per the recommendation, they're recommending who they've chosen to us to hire.
Right.
We couldn't hire somebody and say, here, we're gonna hire this person, they're gonna work in your office. We can't do that.
I understand that, but the way it reads
Okay.
seems as if,
Let's think about it.
sounds as if you are
Yeah,
doing
I see,
that.
I understand what you're saying.
You know,
I'm not sure I agree with you.
That's fine. I'm
Well,
just
we'll
saying,
see.
you know,
We'll
10,
see.
20, 30 years down the road, it's going to look,
Well, we don't want to, because it is the way it is. They do what we just acknowledge their recommendation.
Any other public comment? Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Should Act 13 go away, for lack of a better term, do the commissioners have a contingency plan to make up for that $5+ million that we're gonna lose in this county?
We don't need a contingency plan because we're not using Act 13 money for operations. The difference is, and I understand where you're going, you know, when you look at the townships or municipalities, a lot of them have gone out and bought new equipment and have taken and created new positions, and all that stuff is there, and at some point will need to be replaced, or they'll have to keep that operational budget keep going, and they're going to lose, if they lose that funding, it'll create a hole. The Act 13 money that we've used, we've been very careful not to tie it to an operational function, so that if that money does vacate, it's not going to create a big hole in the county budget that we're going to have a problem.
Okay.
We do have, there is 2 or 3 positions, I will tell you that there are, and I think I'm correct, there's 2 or 3 positions that we've hired that were associated directly with Act 13 funds. And those positions, when we hired, specifically said that when those Act 13 funds disappear, those positions are also disappearing. I think that there's one position for the sheriff's department, and I'd have to check on the other one, but there was like 2 or 3 positions. So, yeah, grant money, you know, Act 13 money is like grant money. It's very deadly. Too many organizations, public and private, especially public, take that money and flow it into their budget as operational. And then now all of a sudden their budget's gone from 20 million to 25 million because they've got this big chunk of money in, and they get used to spending $25 million each year, and then when the money goes away, now they've got a $5 million gap, and they don't know how to fix it. I experienced that many years ago when I was in public education, especially with the Rendell administration when they did the same thing. So we were very careful here. All the commissioners agreed that we had to be very careful not to set ourselves up so that that money was operational, so that we'd have a problem. Plus, there's specific places we can use that money, so we're very limited as to, if you want to use it for operations, you're very limited as to what operations you could use it for. You know, judicial and public safety, of course, are 2, but we've been very careful as to not using operational. Any other questions?
Motion to adjourn?
Vera?
As far as Act 13 goes, can you use any of that money, and can you consider using any of it for any kind of studies or surveys to show and see if there's any impacts in our county? Like do a survey and have people out there, whether it's university people or others, to see if there's any water contamination, how many townships have water contamination since gas drilling and near gas drilling, or any other impacts like traffic impacts and dust and noise. So can anything be done with a survey? Would you guys consider something like that?
To my knowledge, from what I've read on Act 13, the answer would be no.
There's no category for that?
No.
Now, if we disagree with something that you might be allocating in Act 13, is there any avenue for citizens to either appeal it or object to? Where would we go to object if we feel that whatever you use may not seem legitimate or acceptable as an impact?
Well, the funds are controlled and sent out of Harrisburg, and that would be where you would have to go and file a complaint.
And you have to find a department in Harrisburg, like who handles Act 13?
I'd have to run down and see who's actually handling it now.
Public Utilities.
Public Utility Commission.
The PUC, Public Utility,
yeah.
So you can appeal to them?
I'm not sure who they're having allocate for them, but ultimately, they're the ones responsible.
Now, has any money been allocated from Act 13 for the Historical Society or the library for their needs?
Absolutely not,
Nothing at all?
no.
Because I still hear that they, you know, their equipment is being used, Historical Society, by a lot of people looking up deeds and going back to clear deeds and all of that, titles, and it's used a lot by the industry. So can any of that be used? Any impact money because of that?
Well, the library's not part of the county. They're their own entity, so no, we can't use our money to give to the library.
And what about the Historical Society? Is that separate?
That's not part of the county.
Mm.
They're a separate entity in themselves.
Now, I also wanted to mention, too, that on June 30th, there was a large explosion on the Meade gas site on Route 167 in Bridgewater Township. And I spoke to a couple of the neighbors there. They were shocked by the sound of it, and it was heard over a mile away. Then I spoke to other neighbors that were beyond the site. And they heard this big boom, and they didn't know, of course, what it was until somebody inquired. And it turned out to be a condensate or a brine tank that exploded and went into many pieces and then had to be cleared out and replaced. And one of the issues is, who do we call when we hear something that we don't know what it is? And this family, one family that I spoke to, was right across from the Meade site. They saw a lot of trucks come in afterwards to try and fix it up and all that, and repair. Who do you call when you hear a big boom? Is it just 9/11, or do you call and let the emergency management know what's going on here?
Well, you can call either one. Emergency management was on top of it when it occurred. There was an incident that occurred, 911 was involved, emergency management was involved. Like emergency management was involved last night with a lot of the activity that happened down in the Kingsley area from the storm. Actually, emergency management's out there today, and national weather's coming in, I believe, tomorrow for that area also. So emergency management, you can call them, that would be a good start.
Emergency management. And then when I called emergency management, spoke to Paul Johnson, actually, after the incident, he said he doesn't keep any records. They don't keep any records of people complaining or their concerns. So let's say a neighbor calls, you know, I heard this and I'm concerned about it, and, you know, I need some kind of answers. They don't keep a record of people calling. Do you think that might be a good idea, to keep a record of who's calling?
Well, 911, anything that's an emergency, 911 records the calls, and all those calls are recorded.
And then as far as the Meade site goes, right now they're at 5 violations. That's not including June 30th. Before June 30th, they had a large spill of drill mud and diesel, and that had to be cleaned up and tested and for around one of the well heads. So now they're up to, it should be now probably with this one, 6 violations. So can any survey be done in our county just to see what is going on with all of the violations? We have over 900 violations right now in our county since 2008 with all of the gas companies involved. And there's about 7 gas companies. And we have almost 1,000 wells. So you're talking about almost like 1 violation per well as far as an average. Can any kind of a study be done and be paid for by the county to show the impacts here?
The EPA, of course, they have all their documentation as to what is occurring in the county and violations and all their records, and all that's available.
So you don't feel we need anything extra then?
Well, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. They're doing, they're responsible for those facilities. They're responsible to do their part in this process, and that's what they need to do.
Well, I think if the county gets involved, then you can actually relate that information to the county residents, because the DEP is not directly relating information to the DEP. I mean, they're not relating information to the residents. The residents have to look it up. So if the county gets...
Having the information out for anybody to access, I think would be a good thing, in my opinion. I mean...
Well, and and you make a good point, but having accurate information,
it's coming from the DEP and the EPA, is it not?
having it being up to date is even more important.
Well, you wouldn't have control over that, because you're just the receptacle for the information, and then you're going to take that information and place it where any resident who chooses to go to the website can find it.
Right. All right. Any other comments? Yes,
Did you receive Act 13 money on June 30?
yes.
How much?
It's a little over $5.4 million.
And is it kept in a separate account?
Absolutely.
Do you have intentions, have you decided how you're going to use that money for this year?
It's not going to be used this year. We won't use that until next year when we go through our budget process and figure out what we're going to do with it.
That'll be discussed when you do the 2015?
Right.
And when do you do that? In
It
December?
usually starts around
November?
September, October.
Okay. And is there any discussion? The discussion is among the commissioners?
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you have a point you want to make on it? or-
No, I'm just curious.
Okay.
Maybe next time.
Well, the line is at the door all the time. Every time we get it, everybody's got a handout and says, we want Act 13 money, we want Act 13 money. The library wants it, Heritage Club wants it, everybody wants that money. And our job as commissioners is to make sure that money's put to the best use for the county.
Right. Like some kind of website maybe, or a
Well,
mapping system like Bradford County has.
we're working on a mapping system, so, that's something we're working on now. So we have a GIS department, and that's part of what Act 13 has funded is GIS upgrades.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Hall, weren't you saying you were working on updating the website, the county?
Yes.
That would be a possible use of some of the money towards that? That's so outdated. I mean, if you look at it, there's nothing.
Well, our new website rolls out is supposed to roll out this Friday.
Okay. Oh, you have one coming.
Yes. So,
Good.
any other questions or comments? Yes.
How has been the response from township supervisors? You mentioned, a couple of months ago or so that you contacted all of them and you wanted them to respond to you. Can you give us an update on the
I have
response?
3 that I'm working with right now out of the group that's replied.
That means 3 townships or
Yes.
3 different
2
townships
townships and 1 municipality.
and 1 municipality? So how do you feel about the response level at this point?
Well, that's up to them. I mean, if they know that we're here, and if they want our input or if they want our help, they contact us. All right? Got a motion to adjourn?
Got it.
Second that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Today's Sandy's birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Mine's Frankie Warren on the radio.